Nature is the mother of all, as it helps sustain our lives. It has been our companion for eternity. Despite the importance of nature in human life, we are spoiling its balance only due to our greediness. We are exposing it to the external threats of destruction and mistreatment. We are giving challenges to nature by doing activities such as hunting down animals, cutting down trees, releasing poisonous gases, and polluting rivers. The road to civilization is more often through the destruction of natural resources. But it is not yet late for us. Society can help us save this planet, but we must learn to value nature more than anything. The nature needs our help. Humans have long invented the word invasive, an organism that causes ecological or economic harm in a new environment where it is not native.
Invasive species can cause extinction to the native plants and animals, reduce biodiversity, compete with the native organism for limited resources, and alter habitats. It can result in substantial economic impacts and fundamental destruction of coastal and Greater Lakes ecosystem. While the meaning of invasive species has been a subject for some debate, the general accepted definition is a plant, animal, or other organism that, aided by humans, has recently moved to a place where it is non-native to detrimental effect. Humans do not fit in that definition, so to answer the question, we are not invasive.
Humans are not an invasive species, but humans certainly harm the environment. If you think about it, all the damage done by invasive species are collective human faults. Human action led to that species being in a new place where it then causes some harm. But how do we harm flora? What is a flora anyway?
Flora is all plant life, present in a particular region or time. Generally, the naturally occurring native plants. Some grow in desert areas or water, some are found in hilly areas, some are endemic to a specific geographic location.
Now, this ecological environment is related to two biochemical cycles, the nitrogen and sulfur cycle. Then how do the cycles in the flora community go together?
The nitrogen cycle is a repeating cycle of processes during which the nitrogen moves through both living and non-living things, the atmosphere, soil, water, animals, and bacteria. When the soil absorbs nitrogen, different bacteria help it change condition so plants can absorb it. Animals then get their nitrogen from the plants. The nitrogen cycle is an integral part of many cells and processes, such as amino acids, proteins, and even our DNA. It is also needed to make chlorophyll in plants used in photosynthesis to make their food. As part of these life processes, nitrogen is transformed from one chemical form to another.
Now, the sulfur cycle is the movement of sulfur through the atmosphere, mineral forms, and living things. Although sulfur is primarily found in sedimentary rocks or seawater, it is essential to living things because it is a component of many proteins. The sulfur cycle is essential for functioning proteins and enzymes in plants and animals that depend upon plants for sulfur. Plants absorb sulfur when it is dissolved in water. Animals consume these plants to take up enough sulfur to maintain their health.
However, the anthropogenic effects affect the two cycles.
Anthropogenic refers to changes in biophysical environments, ecosystems, biodiversity, and natural resources caused directly or indirectly by humans.
An example of anthropogenic effect on the flora is the reduction of plant biodiversity to deforestation. Deforestation provides clear land for the industrialization movement in our society, which directly reduces plant biodiversity by destroying natural habitats.
Another example is the overuse of fertilizers. It can also reduce plant biodiversity by sparking eutrophication. High levels of nitrate can create an excessive growth of algae on the water surface, obstructing light from hitting the water and killing plants beneath the surface that depend on photosynthesis.
But how do the anthropogenic effects affect the nitrogen and sulfur cycle?
For the nitrogen cycle, humans are overloading ecosystems with nitrogen through the burning of fossil fuels and an increase in nitrogen producing industrial and agricultural activities, according to a new study. While nitrogen is an element that is essential to life, it is an environmental scourge at high levels.
While for the sulfur cycle, human activities significantly affect the global sulfur cycle. The burning of coal, natural gas, and other fossil fuels has dramatically increased the amount of sulfur in our atmosphere and ocean and depleted the sedimentary rock sink.
Due to these anthropogenic effects in the flora, epigenetics is highly present in the flora environment.
Epigenetic studies cells regulating gene activity without modifying the genetic material. Epigenetics changes are DNA adjustments that control whether genes are turned on or off. These adjustments are connected to the DNA and do not modify the succession of the DNA key components.
Plants rely heavily on changes in gene expression to adapt to environmental stimuli, and chromatin-based gene expression regulation is presumably critical for these respondents. Plants encounter a series of epigenetic modifications throughout their lives, which directly impact gene expression in the current and subsequent generations.
Modification in the expression of stress-responsive genes in plants is caused by epigenetic regulation premised by the histone modifications and DNA methylation. Memory imprinting type defense responses are influenced by the epigenetic control.
Nonetheless, there are various ways to prevent these anthropogenic effects on the plants. Investigate the native flora, fruits and vegetables in your region, and plant a diverse range in your backyard or hanging garden. Support local nurseries with that expertise in native species to assist with this effort. By helping local wildlife, you are helping preserve your area's biodiversity and keep its natural ecosystem.
The second option is to avoid using pesticide and fertilizer in excess, continuing to follow instruction aids in preventing contamination of groundwater and contributing to the pollution and eutrophication. Numerous businesses help counteract your carbon emission by partnering with a tree planting charity. We encourage you to support these businesses by joining their priority programs or buying their products to contribute to their tree planting charity.
Human domination is the most significant common thread of biodiversity because it exploits its power and consumes all kinds of resources by endangering the lives of other species. Biodiversity is substantial for balancing our terrestrial environment and our ecosystem.
Civilization may not be the root of the flora environment being destroyed.
But civilization can also help to care for and nurture it by knowing the value of nature.
If we do not act today, we can again witness the extinction of vulnerable biodiversity, which can further upset the balance of nature.
That's why let's lend our helping hands to our Mother Nature. We can change our environment for a better future.